Welcome to The Local Lens, the podcast that brings the South Dakota community together. I'm Jamie Forrest, your host and your local realtor, here to showcase what makes our region a fantastic place to live. Join me as we explore vibrant local culture, highlight community events, and provide valuable insights for homeowners. Whether you're a current resident or considering a move, The Local Lens is your go-to source for everything in South Dakota. Let's discover, connect, and thrive together. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to The Local Lens. I'm Jamie Forrest again, and I'm so happy to have my guest today, Molly Hopper. She's a licensed real estate agent from the Huron area, and she has almost 7 years of experience in the real estate industry. So she started as a secretary for her grandpa at his real estate office, so she grew up around it. So that gives her that strong foundation in the business and a passion for helping people. So welcome to The Local Lens, Molly.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so excited. You know, as agents, we all have a different journey into what brought us in. We talked a little bit about, it was kind of a family thing you grew up with. So tell us a little bit about your journey into real estate, why you decided to pursue it, and what shaped you into the agent you've become today.
Yeah, I can do that. So like you said, real estate kind of runs in my blood. My grandpa did real estate here for like 30 years. I actually started out as a secretary, like you said, and it just kind of snowballed from there and everything started to fall into place. But before I worked for him, I actually was going to cosmetology school. So I feel like all of our journeys into real estate start someplace else. And I am a beauty school dropout, and I am proud of that at this point. But I went to school for a little while for cosmetology, decided that just wasn't it. I did have a 2-year-old at that time right out of high school. So I wanted to be home. I wanted to be closer to family. And so I came back here and started working for my grandpa, and it just kind of all fell into place. And working for him made me love meeting people, and I also love houses. And I think that's kind of where it started, is I'm just obsessed with looking at houses online anyways. And so the fact that I get to go in and do all of this is a lot of fun. Honestly, I have a lot of fun doing this.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's kind of, mine is not the same, obviously, but I used to love to go to open houses too. And I just enjoyed it. And why not make it my career, right? To get to go in. So, all right. So like I said, you're from Huron. So here in Aberdeen compared to Huron, we have a little bit different market. So give us a snapshot of what like the Huron real estate market looks like, residential, any commercial things that are, out there. And then what you do working in a little bit smaller market, what do you do to stand out?
Yeah. So our market, our average sale price around here is around 200,000. I think we're at 197 right now. Huron is a smaller market. So we have 14,000 people. Our market is normally first-time home buyers. Well, that's the market I like to hit a lot of the time, is our first-time home buyers, and just getting them into homes is important to me, especially from where I started. I bought my first house at 19. And so I just feel like that's where my heart is with this. So the way that I stand out is my social media. I actually am known for it. So in a small market, standing out isn't just about being good at what you do, it's about being known for it, right? And for me, that just means showing up in a way that's different from everybody else. I focus on making real estate feel approachable and fun. I try to get pretty creative with my Facebook videos and my ads, and just getting people to know me instead of just feeling like they are just calling the next professional, right? I want them to get to know me personally. So I post on my Facebook stories and my Instagram stories a lot, and they have nothing to do with real estate. They just have everything to do with me and my personal life. And so that's kind of a way I like to stand out as well. I just want people to get to know me as a person.
Awesome. So you use a lot of social media. Like you said, you post personal, professional stuff, and it's all on the same platform. You don't have a business page, is what you're saying. It's all
I actually do have a business page, and I post a lot of my stories are on my business page, but they are
no. Okay. Yes. Very, very cool. So what would you say is one of maybe your most liked, most popular, that viral reel or video? What would you say are some fun videos to do out there to get people engaged in You, a property,
Yeah.
anything.
So I actually, one of my very first, well, I've been doing videos for a long time, but one where I was actually editing the video and doing all the things, I jumped into a pool with fully clothed. And if you know me, I'm not high maintenance, but I don't like to get my hair wet. And
Yeah.
so everybody that saw that thought that I had lost my mind.
It's amazing.
And
Oh
so
man.
I guess the tip is to get everybody's attention right at the beginning of the video. And so
Yeah.
do something crazy. It can be out of pocket. It doesn't have to be so button up and so uptight and so professional. People just want to see the fun, but while also seeing the house if you're videoing
Hmm.
your house, you know? So
Yeah.
I try to be a little crazy.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
So social media basically has transformed your business. And
Yeah.
so you recommend to agents, to clients, to allow people to get on there. Do you see one platform that performs better than another or
Facebook.
okay. I think so
All day
too.
long, every day. Yes. And that's just because you're hitting every generation. Like our
Mhm.
grandparents have it. I'm a millennial, but my grandparents obviously have it. Our parents have it. And then the kids younger than us, they're kind of into the Instagram. So I try to be on there. But for the
Mhm.
most part, you can get sponsored ads on Facebook and hit every age range.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So you like to work with first-time home buyers, you said. So
Yeah.
when you are working with buyers, what are some of the most important things that a buyer needs to do to get ready to buy their home? Whether it be their
Uh,
first, their second, their last,
Yeah.
what kind
So
of
I
tips do you
think
have?
no matter whether you're a first time home buyer, second time, or this is your fifth house that you've bought, right? Getting pre-approved is pretty important. So
Mhm.
that is my biggest tip to anybody out there starting to look for houses is calling a lender because it gets pretty dangerous if you're falling in love with a house and then you're getting your heart broken because you can't afford it, right? Or you're
Yes.
not getting pre-approved to that amount. So pre-approval gives you a clear budget, makes your offer stronger, and it just lets you know kind of where you stand so that we're not looking at houses that are way above your price range or even ones that are way below and you're not getting everything that you need, right? Because you didn't think
Yes.
you could afford it at that time.
100%. And besides budget, one thing that I've really started to notice too is that if I know their loan type, I'm going to be walking through a house and I'm going to be like, okay, if you're FHA, rural development, I'm like, this is going to be need to be fixed. This will need to be fixed. And it really makes a difference what loan type you have when you're walking through a house too on known repairs that will have to be done. And we're going to have to know we're either going to have to negotiate that or you're going to have to be okay with fixing it if the seller says no, you
Right.
know.
And most of the time off the bat, like if I send out a house and somebody's pre-approved FHA, I will let them know at that point, like, hey, this one's probably not going to work for us, or we're
Yes.
going to have to ask for quite a bit of things for this one to pass for the type of loan that you have. So
Yes.
it's so important that you get pre-approved.
Yes, it's not just the financials is what I tell people. And because
Right.
most people think it's just the value of the house.
Right.
So yes, I agree. Number one step that any buyer should do. So what
Yeah.
are some of the other things that you do or
Um,
recommend?
I definitely recommend, I guess if we're looking at buyers, finding the agent that I like to say vibe with the most. It is so important for me to have an actual connection with the clients that I work with. And I tell people all the time, if you aren't feeling connected with me, this is an important step in your life. And I want you to feel
Mhm.
so appreciated and well taken care of, and you to feel comfortable with the person that is showing you the houses. And if that's not me, that's okay. That's really okay.
Mhm.
I want to connect with you just like you want to connect with me. And if we just aren't vibing, that's okay. But my biggest thing is just finding the agent that you can connect with the most.
Yes, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree with that. Makes a big difference.
it
That
does.
trust factor
And it
and feeling
makes,
comfortable.
yeah, it makes our job and them walking through the house or getting through this process so much more fun if you have some sort of connection with the agent that you're working with.
Yes, 100%. Anything else for the buyers?
I think that those
Okay.
are two of the most important things for me, honestly.
No, they're great. They're great. So let's shift gears to your sellers. So when you're working with your seller and they're ready to get their home on the market, what are some of the must-dos that they need to do? And maybe what are some of those things that buyers or sellers maybe think they need to do, but aren't so important in your mind?
I think the things that they need to do are definitely declutter. When I come into a house to do a market analysis, because that's always my first step, I will walk through and we will go over the things that could be done before I come in and take pictures. We want to see the most space that we can possibly see when we come take pictures of your house. So decluttering is so important. Knowing what price range your house is going to be in. So getting somebody in to do that market analysis before you do anything else is also very important to me. Pricing your house at the right price in our market is very important because we can come up with multiple offers. And I've seen a lot of that lately in our market.
Mm-hmm.
So the last 3 houses that I actually put on the market, we have had multiple offers on in the last week, which
Awesome.
is crazy because it's slowed down a little bit in our market. But when you get the right house at the right price, they kind of just take off. And
Mhm.
so it's super important to have them picture ready.
Yes. Yes, I definitely agree. First impressions, I mean, you can't, it's hard to change a first impression.
I
So,
think things that they don't need to do, I feel like everybody is like very concerned about whether their house is updated enough. And we want updated houses, but I also don't want you to stick so much money into the house right before you list it that you're not getting your money back, right?
yes.
We know that kitchens and bathrooms sell houses and the updates in those sell houses, but that doesn't mean that you have to do them the week before you put your house on the market either.
Yeah, yeah, you're not getting that money back in
No,
that week's time.
sometimes just a good coat of paint goes a long way.
Yes, yes. And yeah, flooring I know is always a big question when people's flooring are destroyed. I mean, I really struggle telling them to put new flooring in.
I
Just
do too.
concessions because the minute you put carpet in, they're gonna want luxury vinyl plank.
You're gonna want something else anyways, all
Yes,
the time.
yes.
Yeah,
So, yes, totally agree on that factor is make it look clean, good, decluttered. Sometimes a fresh coat of paint even can, neutralize a wild
right.
red room or something. And that's fairly cheap. And anything that goes above a couple $100, I always don't necessarily recommend unless it's 100% needed because we know those FHA rules, like with certain things. Those,
Yep,
those are kind of what I go off of. I look at those things and those are the repairs I recommend, I guess, personally. Sometimes if you want to increase your market
I agree.
spread.
And sometimes the money that you're putting in, you're not always gonna get back. But like you said, a good clean, even if you get the carpets washed, right?
Mhm.
And a cleaner to come in and clean your carpets, that goes a long way. Just
Yes.
a little bit can go a long way. But if you're having to put a ton of money into feeling like you need to get all this money out of it, that's not normally the way that I recommend people to sell their houses.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. We're on the same page.
Yep.
Okay. So obviously we work with a lot of agents and things like that. So what advice would you give to current agents, maybe people out there watching that are thinking about becoming a real estate agent? Do you have any advice for people about getting into the real estate market?
And I've said this since day one, it is so important to get to know people. And so just learning people's personalities and being able to vibe with the people in your community normally goes a long way. You don't have to know everything about real estate when you start. You don't have to know how to do the paperwork exactly, right? These are all the things that we can learn as we go, but you also don't need to know everything about every single house that you go into. Sometimes it's just about making a personal connection with the client that you're working with or the customer that you're working with, that you don't have to know everything to be able to do this job, but you have to be willing to learn and you have to be willing to do your research. Also, I think it is so important in our careers that we get along with other agents as well. We don't just work with the agents in our office and we don't just work for ourselves or just for our clients, right? We work with normally 4 or 5 people during a transaction, whether that be lenders, appraisers, inspectors, and other agents. So it's just being able to get along with the people in your community so that you have good connections is super important.
I love that. Your people first perspective has definitely made you very successful in your career and sets who you are, even with your social media. You're people first and you're out there getting to know people and letting people get to know you. So that is just amazing, Molly. So,
Yeah.
Molly, can you let everyone know the best way that they can reach you if they have any other questions or maybe are moving to the Huron area and are looking for a home? How can they get in touch?
Well, first and foremost, you can go check out my social media pages. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Keeping It Real with Molly, both of my handles on both of them. And then you can always email me, Molly S at keepingitrealwithmolly.com. And I am always able to be gotten a hold of by cell phone, text messages, always 605-354-7641.
Awesome. Thank you again, Molly, for being here today on the
Yeah.
Local Lens.
Thank you for
And
having me. I appreciate it.
yes, you're welcome. And thank you out there for tuning in again, and we'll see you next time. That wraps up this episode of The Local Lens. Thanks for tuning in and exploring South Dakota with me. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review to help us reach more listeners. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and more community highlights. Until next time, keep discovering, connecting, and thriving.